What's up, YouTube? Mr. Ferguson here once again. Man, welcome back to Central North Carolina. A little bright out here. We try to know where to really hide yet. Oh man, it's good for you, bad for me. Welcome back to Central North Carolina, where we see that the temperatures are going to continue to go up a little bit into next week. So I'm starting this video on Saturday. Today I think we got a full day's work. We're gonna try to mow the lawn, which I'm gonna show you here in just a second. And I think we're gonna go with something else to darken it up, clearly a fertilization. So we'll talk about that in detail here momentarily. I wanted to just say off the top of this video, not sure when everybody will be watching it. Clearly I like to start my videos in the morning and get the yard work done so I can spend time with family later on in the afternoon. Of course, we gotta be cautious about dew and water on the ground as well. We've had lots of rain. Mr. Blake was just telling me yesterday, and sorry I'm not looking at you guys, the sun is right there and I like the lighting anyways, you get it, but we got a lot of rain this past week. I feel like the shagginess of the lawn, me and Mr. Blake was talking about this as well, I could go for a cut, so we're going to do a mow over this, not only for the grass to even it all out, but also for the leaves in the back, which I'll show you here in a second. But for anybody new clicking on this video, like, hey, you got this banner at the top of your channel saying videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, what's going on, man? We slow down a lot during winter with a fescue lawn and with slower growth. Today we're able to do some things, so this will be coming out on Monday or Tuesday. But yes, we are slow. I just like to put that at the top. So check out below this video. You'll see the history. Click on videos and you can check out all the past content we worked on this past summer. So here is the lawn, and by the way, the columns my dad came and did, it's looking awesome. My wife's been out here staining, and we put some trim up top, and we've been working on that, so it's definitely different. I'm starting to get used to this being open instead of having the rails and stuff right here, so that's a little bit different. Here's the lawn. The color's looking pretty good, but it's definitely lightened up a little bit. I think we can do not a heavy application of fertilizer. And what I'm specifically speaking of is my favorite, guys, my absolute favorite, the 4400 Anderson's HCU. We would probably do, I'm probably going to measure out about half a pound, maybe just give or take half a pound. And we're going to actually dilute that and spray it so that it gets directly into the turf. That's the fastest way to darken this thing up. And I just want to do that just because I've got time today to do that, and we can show it on the channel. The other way we could properly spread that out on our lawn is obviously through a spreader like the Earthway, like the Scotts, like the Lesco, or the other spreaders out there. You can spread it as a granular, but then you have to take the time to either water it in or wait for a rain shower. We don't have rain coming guaranteed until mid next week, so we're going to go ahead and just spray this down. Not only the HCU, the urea, and the temps, we're staying in the 50s. So let me be clear about that. We're not getting super cold. And I understand a lot of people are talking about ammonium sulfate versus urea and all this. I've used it this time of year. I think after we mow and even everything out, it's going to look fine. It's going to take that in and it's going to look great. You can see all the rain that we had. I still got a little bit of water down here in the gutter area where it's pooled up. Remember all that grass we threw down here to test? It's definitely come in and it likes that spot, but you can see all the leaves that has flowed down this way. The only house on the block, I think, with a nativity scene, so we're repping Jesus in the house, literally, or at the house out front, so I'm going to have to make sure I manage my cords here, and I may have to actually take all these up so I don't destroy them, but I like my little, I had to get a little remote and a little cord and all this. This is about as much as we do for Christmas. We may do some lights next year on the house, I don't know, but I like my little nativity scene here. And just quickly to show you over this side, all of our grass we've been working on repair. That's all I want to show you pre-mow. Is looking great. You guys remember that's been following along. This section was difficult when we were doing it, and it's not. And I'm out here in a t-shirt, so it's only about 50s right now, upper 40s, and I'm fine. I'm not chattering or anything like that. But all this grass has come in nice and thick all the way down here, even down there. You see the buildup of all the leaves. We'll have to run over with with the mower, chop it up. I'm not going to bag. I'm going to mulch all this in. All this has finally taken, look at all the grass. We finally, on top of this pipe I was telling you guys, we finally have established turf here that looks decent. It's still thin right here, but as this matures, I think this will be fine as well. Everything is covered with our good grass, right? So that's a positive all the way down. Again, looks good. That's about the gist of it. Back here, the story is how wet is it? I'm going to have to wait a little bit. Let's see. Okay. I was thinking we might have a lot of mushy, and we really don't. So I think we're fine to mow. And I didn't put the windscreen on the mic, so hopefully that's not a big hindrance. But there's our rails. I may need to go ahead and put that in the truck and haul that off because I don't think we're going to reuse that. But you can see we get a lot of, we've had a lot of wind. If you're in North Carolina, you likely have as well. And so we've had a lot of wind. We got a lot of leaves. I came out here last weekend and I was like, man, I should have filmed that for a video. Didn't think anybody would care. And I had a ton of leaves back here, and I've already done one blow of all the leaves into the woods back here. So I got to pick up sticks like this and stuff from the windstorm and the damage that we've had. So yeah, we've had a lot of warmer air come through. It's just back and forth. So that's the goal. We'll let the sun come up. I'm not going to do this. We'll spray after the mow. I don't want to spray and then run the mower over that. That's just my preference. I've had no problems with it. But you can see we got limbs down. So I'm going to pick up all this. We're just going to chop and mulch. It's not a ton of leaves, so we're just going to mulch the leaves that we do have into the lawn. But the color looks decent. We don't need a ton of fert. We may not need any fert at all, but it's something that we can do and play around with, and it's not going to hurt anything. We're going to let the sun come up, dry up some of the dew, dry up some of the stuff here, and we'll come back. I'm going to go ahead and pour out the HCU, unless I dump it all over the ground like I did that one time. We're going to pour it out in a bucket right here, which I've got to let dry out a little bit. It's got rainwater in here from the other day, and you see this was empty the other day, and you see how much rain water is in there. A good amount, a quarter of that bucket is full of rainwater. So we're going to dry that out and put some HCU. Also, this is the one time I like to put on my backpack sprayer the strainer, so that none of those little pellets of urea get through, and if they do, they're super stinking small. So we put, and this is dirty, I got to clean this off, but we put our strainer up top when we start to pour our urea into our hot water. And sometimes I like to even mix it in the bucket and just pour it into the backpack sprayer. So we may go that route as well. Just put it in there, go into the bathroom, put hot water in the bucket, mix it up, get it the best to dissolve with the drill, then pour it into the strainer, into the backpack. And we're not going to add anything to it. I may have a biostimulant I may put in with it, but the only other thing I'm going to put in is some natural adjuvant to help it open up and immediately, and it's urea, so it's immediately going to be able to uptake from the plant. So by Sunday, tomorrow, we should see results. So we'll be back and we'll get started with mowing this thing, show you the results, and then get into spraying some fert. All right, guys, so it's roughly around 10:30. We've given it probably about, I don't know, 2 hours or so. I can still see a little bit of dew on the ground. Woo, squirrels scare the crap out of me. I still see a little bit of moisture on the ground, but I'm going to pick up these branches, and for you, the mow will be done right now. The power of editing. Look at that. I don't know if I timed that really well. We'll see when I put this together. But we're done with the mow. We're not going to go over it, you know, in all depths and detail. We still have spotty areas that hopefully will come in spring. Not doing any more reseeding. We're done seeding. This area that we did topsoil and seed looks really good. So it tells me a lot about next year. I need to remind myself, I need to put fresh topsoil, fresh compost, fresh dirt. You guys have said it. I hear you. And believe it or not, guys, just off topic, some of that 30-0-0 we mixed with the bluegrass, there's actually little hairs of grass. Unless some of this could be, look at this, all through here, look at that. All through here, we've got little teeny baby, it could be bluegrass, could be that blue panther. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's there. Another little, you know, just grouping of it right there. So crazy. It did burn the ground with the fert, but some of it somehow grew in rocks and roots. It's incredible what grass can do when you give it time and the right temperature and environment. Color-wise, as I mowed this, I do not like the color of it. It looks pretty good. It's not bad, but I can definitely tell. And this is a feeling as you walk your lawn, as you mess around in your lawn, you know, man, I've seen this lawn get really dark. I've seen it get super dark with fertilizer. Now, one of the things that I did want to mention in that, we don't want to go stupid crazy, you know, burn the lawn, obviously. But one of the arguments, or one of the things that not arguments, one of the discussions we went back and forth on last year was, does applying lots and lots of fertilizer promote more of the poa-triv spreading and growth in the lawn? And clearly, when we're doing fertilizer, we're telling it to grow. We're promoting growth as well as mowing. So that's something to factor in and look at. But just looking at this, it's not dark. It is almost like its natural green color of turf, of what I've normally, like if you just planted it, let it come up without any fertilizer, this is what the color I think you would get out of it. And as we talked about exposure, you guys can see on the edges right here, all that warm season grass that is still here, and it's only going to keep creeping back. But at one point we took off a whole section of this bank and killed it all off and redone it. The Bermuda is tough, so it just goes to show you, but not a lot of white, a little bit down in here, but not a lot of Bermuda exposure in the middle of the lawn, and that's what we care about right now. So we're looking pretty good. Got all of our manger stuff up, and speaking of which, I want to tell you about our sponsor, the baby Jesus. Why get high this holiday season when you can serve the Most High? Details in his latest book, God's Word. So let's go back here to the porch, and we're going to briefly talk about the benefits of spraying your fertilizer versus what we've been doing this past fall lawn care season at the project lawn. And here we've been throwing it out granular. So are there pros and cons to doing it one way or another? Well, as I mix this up, I'm going to take my fert, which I've already thrown into my 5-gallon bucket here, and I'm going off a filling here. This is about, I have a little line marked on the inside. I can't show you, but it's about the half-pound mark. So I'm going to go in. I've got all of my HCU, all of my beautiful urea, which is dissolvable. So don't just buy any urea and think, I would check the label. I know that this can be dissolved into a liquid. It says it on the packaging. We're going to pour that we're going to get hot water in here. I'm going to take inside, and with my paint stirrer here in my drill, which is somewhere around here. Maybe I left it inside. Hopefully I didn't. And we're going to stir that bad boy up, and we're going to give it lots of time to stir up with that hot water to dissolve it. And then we're going to begin to pour it into our backpack sprayer right here. It's a 4-gallon tank. So we're going to spray it in here, and we're going to do our trim pass, and then we're going to do our bulk spray. And also, and before that, we have to mix in our natural adjuvant. This is supposed to help us. Can't scientifically prove anything to you guys, but according to GCI Turf, Pete, he buys this by the gallons and gallons to use in his lawn care company in Reidsville, North Carolina. This is supposed to help open up the plant to be able to receive this fertilizer, meaning within the next day or two. The fact that it's urea plus adding natural adjuvant, which we have to adjust the pH. I'll do that as well, maybe while we're talking, maybe not. We may fast forward that part, but adding that in with our liquid fertilizer, it's going to get into the plant a little more, and with the cooler temperatures, it may help it to absorb it when it may not want to immediately. We're going to have 60s this week, so it's definitely going to uptake the fert. It's definitely going to have a color change. Is it going to have a lot of growth with it? We'll find out. So let me go get the hot water, stir. We'll be back and have a little chat. All right, guys. So here is what we did in the bathroom. Just basically you take your HCU, you put it in a bucket. We put as much hot water as we can without splashing all over. We got our drill with our paint stir, and we just basically spin it up, right? And let some of that dissolve, and spend about 5 to 6 to 7 minutes just stirring. So all of this is just as dissolved, and there's no, and I don't know if time, without doing this over time, does it just break down in the water? I would have to think so, yes. But I feel like I've spent a significant amount of time stirring this, and it should be really good. We'll find out And this is why we definitely want to use our strainer in our flow zone here. So another benefit, if yours does not have it, I would interest you or push you towards a flow zone. This is the Typhoon. This is the one GCI graciously sent to me when I was having issues. So if you're interested in that, while I'm in here getting the battery to the sprayer, then you can go down and look in the description of this video. We'll have a link if you're interested in checking that out for someone or yourself for Christmas. There is a Cyclone. Typhoon is the most expensive. Cyclone's got, I think, a little bit lower pressure settings, possibly, or not as many pressure options. So Cyclone and Typhoon. So check that out. Let's get this in here first and also pay attention to how much we're pouring in. So carefully, let's get it flowing. There we go. Not too bad. Whew. All right, there we go. Oh, we lost some to the left. All right, so it looks like as I pour, nothing is, there's no solids. That is, I think a little bit faster. It's splashing a little bit off the strainer at the bottom, but we're doing good at this rate. Let me stop there, even though I don't want to stop. Oh yeah, we got plenty of room. That's, I was thinking 5-gallon bucket. I was close to the top. So we're at 2.5 gallons right now, which is perfectly fine. I was thinking this shouldn't take up more than 3. Of course, we got some left in here. Let's pour all this in here. There we go. We're all done. And there is a couple, if you look real close down in here, there is some like solids that aren't completely, but when I look in here through the strainer, there is no, when I've done it with cold water, I've actually seen the white urea pellets form catch right here. There might be one, but as we take our strainer off now, which is what I was hitting with this little dot, and I've got gloves on for that. We had one little guy right there that you may be able to see as I drip, you know, that get caught by the strainer. So I'm going to take this over here to the edge and wash this out. We'll be right back here in a second. So we've cleaned out our bucket, cleaned out our strainer, dumped that out in the woods. We've got, we need to add some more water in here. So we want to get this up to probably around the 4 mark. We only got 3, 4, I'm only adding 4 to 5 ounces of the natural adjuvant. Very, very little amount. So more water, the better, so this can flow. So we're getting it close there. We can go a little bit above 4 here. With the sprayers that I use, for those that aren't aware, I do a very fast pace. This 4-gallon, I stretch this whole 4-gallon out on my 8,200 square feet. And that's just how I've always done it. That's how I mix it. That's how I do it. And works out well for me. So now we want to get it to where we're guessing, you know, we're almost at, you know, 10 ounces almost till the top, if you will. So when we add in our natural adjuvant, we have to get our pH of our mix proper. So when you're doing the natural adjuvant, you can't just add it in there. Well, you can. It may not be effective. You may be wasting the product or wasting your time. So I'm just shaking it because we're going to need to do that. So the first thing we need to do is take our pH meter. We want to open it up. This is the older one I have. Turn it on. And as you see, it's currently, we want anything below 5. We're good. It's currently at 5.6, just as it is. So that's why you want to add in your city water. You know, let's get the bulk of our mix. So as I stick this in there, just as it typically does with this urea, it is immediately shot up to 7.6. So we need to add enough citric acid into this so that we drop it below 5 and we're good. And then we'll be good to add in our natural adjuvant and go to town and spray and be done. You will need some citric acid. It comes with it. You can buy it from GCI Turf, I do believe. This is what is going to lower your pH. Now it's almost like soil pH, but we're doing it in our tank, right? So you can play, I just like to go at it and just dump a bunch in there and like, all right, be done. Now, if I get it down to like 2, clearly I've added way too much. So now we're going to go back. We got to stir. Don't let me forget, there's no point if we don't stir. It'll just sit at the top. So you want to stir that in. So we'll be back after we stir. All right, so we've stirred it all up. We're going to turn on our Hanna pH meter. It's setting again at 7.63. We're going to drop that in. All We're going to drop it in. We're going to hold it for a few seconds, and whatever I dumped in was absolutely perfect. I'm a good eyeballer today. Hopefully I am with Fert as well. We're at 4.5, which means we're below 5, which means we're good to go. So whatever amount, I thought I went a little heavy. I did not. I did just enough to get us to where we need to be. And now we are clear to add the natural adjuvant. So I'm going to pour this in, 0.5 per 1,000. Let me put this in there. And you can add a little more, a little less. I like to put a little bit more. I don't use it very often. Pretty much, I use it with the fungicides, as you guys have seen on the channel. I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm going to put about 7 ounces in here total. There we go. And so we just want to rinse that out. And again, the natural adjuvant has been shown to help with water retention. If you have problems with your lawn in the summertime going dry, the natural adjuvant has been proven. I used it a lot during the summertime. Remember when we were super dry, we were trying to retain water. We're trying to water a little bit less often. The natural adjuvant does have those features and qualities. So I like to add just a little bit more water. It's not going to hurt our pH. We're definitely well below 5, so we're good there. So just want to add this in and stir that up, that natural adjuvant. All right, so that's all good and stirred. We want to make sure we clean off our equipment both right now and anything that might stain your concrete. Now, to conclude this, instead of you guys watching me do the actual spray, you know what I'm going to do there. But what are the benefits to doing it this way with all of this that I've just went through? Why would you want to go through all of this when you can simply pull out your earthway and dump it in there and just spread it? Well, there's pros and cons, I feel like, to both, and none of this is going to be like science or fact related. I'm just giving you my 2 cents on this year. We've done all granular. I bought the earthway. I wanted to test the earthway, use the earthway. I've been pleased with it. I don't see, didn't have any big major spills. I like the air tires in the earthway. I like going granular. However, today it's in the lower 50s. If we were to do this on a granular method and throw it all out, number one, you want to make sure you blow it all off. So you got to get your backpack blower. You want to make sure you blow it off all of your concrete because you can spread it all over your concrete. Secondly, we would need to water it in if we want to start seeing results sooner than later. You got to water your entire lawn unless you have rain, unless you have, rain coming in and you're doing it right before the rain. Understand, you guys know I'll get out. Mr. Kevin knows, he'll film me and laugh at me when I'm out in the rain doing hydrotain and things of that nature. Even fertilizer can get messy, but at least you know it's getting watered in. When we're spraying it, we are putting it down. It is a more advanced method, and I'm not calling myself advanced. I don't even particularly like doing it all the time with the sprayer. This is a color change application, so we want to make sure we do it right. You can do with both methods. You can overlap, and you can have it dark lines in your lawn where you overlap, so you want to be careful about that. The wind is a factor if you're going to be doing it with a spray. You don't want high winds. If it's a high wind day, you may want to default to granular to make sure you don't spray it all over your legs, spray it all over your house. That's another problem, that if you're not paying attention, just spraying, it can get all over your stuff. It's all the black. Most of our fertilizers, a dark color, the biostimulants, a dark color. That can be an issue. But when we're using the natural adjuvant with the spray, the pros can be that it's immediately going to start taking this up, and you can see color change within several hours when it's actively growing. Now, that is the other thing I'm interested to see with the natural adjuvant, opening up the plant, as Pete says, and letting this thing start uptaking. Will that help it? Or when our fescue starts to get, the freezes are coming. We've gotten in the 20s and the teens a couple times. We're not there today. We're going to be in the upper 60s, as I mentioned. Will that help? And will we start to see a color change by church tomorrow? I believe we will. And this will definitely be my last application of fertilizer. Just seeing it a little bit low on fert and seeing these stripes. Another reason why the mow stripes looked the way they did was because that's the first time I've done the up and down mow this season. I've been doing diagonal cuts. I did left to right cuts and the opposite way diagonal cuts, but I've tried to not do the up and down because that's my primary way way. I'm getting a lot of tracks in my lawn, so I've tried to steer away from that this season. So I'm going to spray this, have some lunch. I'm starving. This takes a little bit of time. Most of the time, this is a Saturday job. With the daylight, you just don't have time after work, depending on when you get home. If you're retired, you can just forget everything I said. You got plenty of time, right? But the temperatures as well. When you're feeling strong, you're feeling good, you got a little extra time, this is a great way to do it. And so I'm anxious to do I'm going to trim pass. I like to do the trim pass with the natural nozzle. I believe it's still on here. Yeah. So with these guys, and so with the lower, this one's a 0. This one I think is a 15 or something like that. 25 maybe. Maybe that says 25. But basically, these are the ones that come with the flow zone. I can show you these. I don't like showing Pete's. They're custom. But these I like to use for the trim pass. I've had some issues with my trim pass nozzle. It may just be time to buy another one. But these are great because these little short strip sections, I like to do with these and just do it completely with the trim pass and nozzle and be done with it. So the bulk, obviously, I don't want to spray the neighbors and waste product. So I'm going to be working on that. But this is a longer video, but let me know if you enjoy these. Instead of putting out a bunch all week, I just try to film everything. So this is how we're mixing urea with the warm water, putting it in our backpack sprayer, doing an application. As here in the transition zone, we're still warm. We still got 68-degree day coming right before Christmas. I mean, that's not really unusual. We've got a beautiful mow. The grass was actually way longer than I thought it was. It looks great. I enjoy seeing the fresh stripes back in the lawn. Again, this is the first time we've cut it this way this entire year. So the stripes aren't dark for that reason, but with this application, we may get another mow in before we hit the end of December and maybe even around Christmas time. And those stripes may be looking like some candy cane stripes for the holidays. So good morning, YouTube. Sorry for the sound quality. I do not have the DJI mic hooked up here, but just wanted to throw this in to show you there's absolutely been a color change in the past 24 hours since we sprayed our liquid urea down, our Anderson's 4400. Definitely a darker look, especially when you contrast the going away stripes and the coming back to you stripes. Definitely a color change. I really noticed it in the afternoon, so it took probably about 4 hours or so to really pick up on that. And I'll show you the front in a little bit. But just wanted to at least throw this at the end to show you, yes, in 24 hours, we can change the color with a liquid fertilizer spray. And lastly, here in the front, same thing. You can just see it's just darker. I don't know how else to say it. It's just, I wouldn't say it's, twice as dark as it was yesterday, but it definitely darkened it up. But man, it definitely made a difference. Compared to yesterday, while I was mowing this, it looks like a totally different color lawn, and it darkened it up for sure. So we're about to head off to church, but I just wanted to show you that yes, if we apply correctly and evenly, the best to our abilities, it will turn out darker. So hope you guys have a fantastic week. We'll see you on the next one.